Welcome to the National Indo-American Museum's Taste of India program. I really want to thank everyone for joining in. You could have been anywhere, but this Saturday you chose to be with us. My name is Jitesh Jaggi. I'm the program coordinator and office manager for NIAM. As some of you already know, NIAM, National Indo-American Museum, builds bridges across generations and connects cultures through the diverse, colorful stories of all Indian Americans. We have a very special program for you today. For those who have joined us previously on Taste of India, you know that we were focused on Chicago a lot, but right now we are trying to expand nationwide, do justice to our name. And this episode, we have gone all the way to the East Coast, Queens, New York. Uh, with the number of emails that I've sent everyone, you already are familiar who Adda is, who's Roni, who's Chintan. They are here with us today. And before that, I want to introduce real quick our host. Our host is Murad Bhaidani. All right, Murad has served as a board member, board of trustees for the for National Indo-American Museum from 2016 to 2020. From 2009 to 2015, Murad served as the president of Ismaili Council for the Midwest USA, overseeing the social and administrative governments of community in 12 Midwestern states. In 2011, Murad was appointed to Illinois Governor's Muslim American Advisory Council, where he continued serving in 2016 with a focus on economic education development in the state of Illinois. And I'm very happy to have Murad join us today. But before I hand it on, real quick, some basic house rules. We are recording this, so if you do not wish to have your face seen, you're free to hide your video. Uh, and we are also requesting everyone please stay on mute. Um, any questions that you have, any comments that you have, in the chat box right below, I will send the hi to everyone. Please feel free to send in your questions on the chat box. Anything that you need, our host today will take a look at it. I'm also here. And finally, this event, this whole program, it's a part of 6 episodes. This is the second one of 2021. We are sponsored by, very generously, by the US Bank. I want to thank them. I believe some of their representatives are here. So thank you, US Bank, for being our presenting sponsor for today. And I will now move on to Murad.
Hey, thanks, Jitesh. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. As all of you know, that over the past year, the world has changed around us, right? And you have been hearing this a lot. However, we too, as an institution, have adopted or adapted based on how the world has changed around us. And we cannot appreciate enough our fellow citizens who are still battling on the front lines. To all of them, a big thank you from the bottom of our heart. Within the National Indo-American Museum, we too have altered the way that we conduct this program, right? We used to have these famous street food tours of Devon. And so over time, we have adapted and now offering that same quality program online. George Bernard Shaw famously shared that there is no sincere love than the love of food. And I believe that's what has brought all of us together today. Food is probably the best ambassador for any culture. And I personally believe it is food which holds the best promise of bringing us together in a multicultural society, a pluralistic society. It offers a common ground and therefore a universal experience for all of us. Today, we'll be going through the second episode of our 6-part Taste of India series for the year 2021. And you'll be delighted to hear that today we have acclaimed chefs Chintan Pandya and Roni Mazumdar. They are live here from their restaurant in Dhamaka in New York City. And this is the third in their latest edition of quote unquote, unapologetically authentic Indian food restaurants. The previous two being Rahi and Adda, of which you may have heard a lot about in Queens, New York. They'll be showcasing their famous Chacha's lamb chops, Kale Pakodas, and also talking about our perennial favorite, Raita. Right? So without further ado, welcome Roni and Chintan. I would like to start off by just having you share some of your thoughts around your culinary journey as immigrants, as well as of a particular part of the world that is near and dear to all of our hearts. We'd love to have you share your thoughts.
So first clarification, there's only one person who's the chef between the two of us, and that's this guy. I'm not even half qualified to be a chef. So I'm the restaurateur, I'm the business partner. We have, we run things together with two very different disciplines in place. The way what we envisioned, I've been in America for about 25 years now. Chintan, well, what is it for you, man?
8 years.
8 years. He's still on the boat. He's getting here. So for both of us, when we talk about Indian food, I realized that the representation of the cuisine is heavily skewed across America. You really have two polar opposites. One, you have very much of mom and pop shops where people have created Indian food as a form of livelihood, and then there's the other side, which is the really high end, a little more serious white tablecloth, and that's also wonderful. What we like to see is, where is that Indian food? What's that space in the middle? Where is that Indian food where you can have an amazing meal Tuesday evening after work, if that's what you're in the mood for, and where you don't have to break the bank just to get there, and be confident that food that you're trying is something that is also exciting. So I think it's really as simple of an approach as bringing those two worlds together. And what unapologetically authentic means is that we looked at ourselves, and me more than Chintan, maybe because I moved here when I was about 12 years old. Our colonial roots play a big role on us without us ever realizing. There are still people I meet on a daily basis, us Indians, who might not be as excited to eat with their hands. Just last night, someone replied to me. I said, why don't you eat with your hands? And the person replied, because I grew up in America. As if it's a sign of pride that not eating with your hands elevates us. And it's a lot to learn for all of us. I think same thing goes for the spice levels. One of the biggest things that Chintan took a stand on is that he decided that when he came to Indian food, rather than adding foreign ingredients to it, to create that extra layer of, to quote unquote, elevate something, why couldn't we just serve the dish on its own and still be worthy? And I think if there's anyone to blame for these, it's us as Indians ourselves. I personally learn a lot from these endeavors. I learn from guests that are here every day, and I learn from the people that's constantly surrounding us, because the team that we have set up is a very diverse team. And so, yeah, I think that's our essence of what unapologetic Indian really means, is that don't be afraid if it's spicy. Don't be afraid if there's a pool of oil on top. That's not unhealthy. It's part of the culture. It's how we have grown up, and it's okay to eat with our hands. It's okay to eat on steel plates. That's not a charger, as some people, when they walk in, they don't understand that it's a plate. And I'm astonished to see, they're like, oh, so that's the charger. And they're eating off of this little bowl. And I'm just like, no, the part of India that we wish to represent is really that 99% of the country, and not the 1% that we so desperately want to showcase to the world. Chintan?
Yeah. And I think, a lot of people thought that we are creating this tag, unapologetic Indian, for the sake of it. But it wasn't about it. It was about the fact that, and we talk a lot about Indian cuisine as such. We travel across the country to understand Indian food and why it is at such a stage. So when I came to this country new, which was in 2013, so before that I was in Singapore for 4.5 years nearly. Before that I was in Mumbai, obviously doing my working in hotels and everything. And I was actually coming with a very high expectation coming into America, thinking that this is the place in the world where food standards are so high. And I was totally disappointed, because I thought that there was a humongous amount of compromise that we were making to the cuisine so that we could fit into other people's mold. And we were not trying to create our own identity. We wanted to be a part of other people's story, but we didn't wanted our own story. And I actually always felt I was actually very frustrated by the entire scenario around it. And that's why we took the stand to go ahead and say that, okay, let's create this thing where we are, happy about what we are doing and we take a stand about it. It doesn't matter who's going to accept it or not accept it. But if we don't take a stand about our cuisine at this point of time, in coming years, our cuisine will be dead. Yeah. And we'll be just an offshoot of some other's cuisine.
Yeah. So, great points. I wanted to just expand a little bit maybe and have you share, because one side is having food that we grew up with, but not seeing it in the menus and restaurants that you go to, which is amazing. On the other side, I love the tagline that you have for your new place called Dhamaka, which says, this is the other side of India, the forgotten side of India. And I would love for you to share maybe, there were a few items in the menu, something like Rajasthani Khargosh or Tabak Maz, or even Macher Jol. We'd love to see how that plays a role in terms of what you bring to the culinary scene in the United States.
I think what happened is that, we created Rahi, then we created Adda, but our intention always is to create a new focus or a new vision of Indian food. And everybody was thinking that we are going to replicate a version of Adda in this place. So the first thing on the whiteboard when we decided on Dhamaka, like we didn't knew the name that time. First thing we decided, the first 2 points was the menu cannot be similar to Rahi and Adda. It has to be something new. And I think the entire idea came when I was having a lunch at home one afternoon, because I was struggling to come up with a menu. I didn't have a vision about it or an idea about it. And I was having a lunch at my home, and that's where I got this idea of working on the regional food. And that's how we picked up these dishes which are regional, and we felt that nobody wants to do it. And I honestly, don't quote me, but I'm sure not many restaurants in India won't be serving these dishes, because we are not. And and that's what I was explaining. And when I told this idea to Roni, and he's like, "Oh, why do you think people will accept a regional food like this?" And I said, "But nobody has seen that side of Indian food. So how do you know that they are going to accept it or not accept it?" And I give an example about how, like, there's a soup, the French people make a soup known as bouillabaisse, and there's actually a cookbook just about that soup, that how the story of that soup is. And I said, it's so beautiful to understand that they are working so much hard to get their cuisine in that level where we are not working on it. Mache jhol is a phenomenal dish, again, made in different ways in different part of Bengal itself. You understand? So there's a humongous complexity to the dish, but we think, oh, it's a fish curry. So how are we getting it away? Oh, it's a fish curry. That's it. We are not going in depth of it.
And I'll add something quick here is the idea that even in Indian food itself, there is a hierarchy that exists. Anyone that's on this call, ask yourself, how much do you really know about Meghalayan cuisine? How much do you know about Bihari cuisine? How much do we know about Oriya food? We don't. The truth is, maybe if you're from that region, you might. I am guilty as charged. And I think that's a shameful fact, because here I am, an ambassador of Indian cuisine, yet there's so much of our own culture that we don't get a chance to learn. And what's happening to these cuisines? What will happen in the next 10 years with our obsession to try and bring in a pasta with an Indian twist, but not focusing on that noodle that might be an Indo-Chinese that somebody's cooking at home? I think that's really the essence, and that's what we are really fighting for.
Awesome. With that, without further ado, we would love for you to showcase what you have in store for us today.
Sure. All right. Let's get rocking. So here's how it's going to play out. What Chef is going to do is he's going to start the cooking process right behind us. And I will take a smaller camera so you can see what's going on in the pan, what are some of those core components, etc. And if there are questions, etc., happy to jump in and answer it. But the whole process is going to take us about 20 to 22 minutes. So stay with us, understand what we're doing, and have fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey guys, one more thing. There's gonna be a raffle. So this is the raffle box. I'll keep on shaking every few minutes. So I don't want anybody to say that we were not being fair about it.
That's part of his recipe.
So guys, we are technically making two things over here. We're speaking about a little bit about the raita, but what we'll do is that all the kebabs that we do in our restaurants, we actually have a two-stage marination. So what I'm going to do is first we'll do the lamb chops, then follow up with the kale pakoda. So as you can see, this is the entire lamb rack over here with the fat. I prefer my lamb chops with more fat because that gives more juiciness to it. Okay, and I normally, like a lot of people prefer having one bone cut. I prefer having with the two bone.
So by two bones, you mean each of those is a single bone. Is that what you mean, Chintan?
Two bones. This is two bone. Yeah, one is one bone. This is two bones over here.
Got it. And there's a few different styles of lamb chops. There's the French cut, etc. What do you buy usually?
These are New Zealand lamb chops actually, and I think these are the best quality. There's Australian lamb chops and New Zealand lamb chops. I prefer the New Zealand because of the fat content on it. And I normally see, like, sometimes in the market you also get better quality Denver lamb chops, but they are very fatty. So a lot of people, I love it, but a lot of people don't accept more fattier stuff. That's why. So I'm gonna do the first marination over here. So ginger garlic paste with some green chili. So red chili powder.
What is the percentage of ginger garlic? Just equal percentage?
I use different percentage for everything. The one for the kebabs I use is 50-50.
Okay.
50 garlic, 50 ginger. When I'm making a curry, it's 75 garlic, 25 ginger. Got it. Just get the vinegar.
And essentially, as we all realize, ginger garlic paste, fairly straightforward stuff. It's something that you can just mince. You can, just put it in a blender. That's about it at home.
Add some salt.
That is salt. There's different types of salt. What do you like to use?
I like to use the kosher salt, which is available. It's a regular thing that you'll get off the market. So I'm just gonna make it and keep it on the side. This is known as a first marination. Ideally, I try to keep the first marination for at least hour and a half, 2 hours to be on a safe side. And then we'll use the second marination in which we'll marinate it. Unfortunately, we don't have so much time, so I'm just going to start with the marination part.
So as we all realize, typically what ends up happening is we end up doing a single marination, which is when I'm cooking at home. That's kind of the version that I always end up thinking about. But what happens in restaurants is you do what's called double marination. Now, chef, why do you do double marination? What is the benefit of double marination?
So what happens is, as you know, that any kind of like even humans, there's humongous amount of water in our body. Same as all the animals also have a humongous amount of water. So when you do this, the water will come out. And when you cook your meat, the marination is not thinned down due to that water. That's the reason why I split my marination in two parts.
So the flavor would be more intense.
More intense, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. And these are some of the ingredients that we have set up. Here's the first marinated lamb chops.
And Murad, we have
some oil.
Mustard oil.
So you are doing this in mustard oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just had the mustard oil at lukewarm. It's just lukewarm, you can smell it. Okay. I'm sure those guys can run, but you can run.
Let me see. Can I smell it real quick? Oh boy, it smells like home.
Just gonna add.
So can people use other types of oil other than mustard oil?
You can use any kind of oil that you want. I think mustard oil is a better one because it imparts some more flavor to your kebabs.
Got it.
And in the market, there are different kinds of mustard oil. There's one which is an edible mustard oil. So I'll recommend everybody to use the edible mustard oil and not the one which is not for the cooking purposes. Just going to add some chili into it.
So that's red chili.
Yeah, that's a red chili powder.
Now there's also Kashmiri chili. So that's degi mirch.
That's a degi mirch. So what I added was a degi mirch. Adding some salt in there.
So degi mirch, turmeric,
Yep.
and you added salt.
Yeah, and that's a garam masala. We make our own garam masalas on our own. This comprises around 15 spices. The major component in the spice is cumin, coriander, cardamom, both black and green. These are the major ones, and then there are other things into it.
You know, for someone cooking at home, I always feel the best version is to get some, exciting garam masalas. If someone really is excited to make garam masalas, you can do it. I think the store-bought ones work out pretty well.
Yeah.
If we can slow down for a
Yes.
second, Roni and Chintan,
Yep.
Murad can take up some of the audience questions.
So
Yeah, we can take the questions. Yeah.
So Roni, some of the questions that we are seeing on the chat window is, where do you get good mustard oil in the US? Is there a special brand that you would recommend? Kosher salts instead of Himalayan salts? Do you use regular white vinegar or red white vinegar? And some of those questions are a bit more detailed oriented, just looking for recommendations from both of you.
Got it. So the vinegar that I would recommend is the regular white vinegar. Okay, don't use any expensive ones. The reason we are using a vinegar is just to have certain kind of citrus in it right now. A lot of people will think of using expensive, but it's of no use to it in the sense in the final cooking process. So we need that at this stage. So we don't need the expensive one. The regular white vinegar is perfect for this. The mustard oil, you can find it in the Indian stores. We have a supplier who gets it for us. So that's the thing. What was the other question?
So one of the questions was around the mustard oil, that oftentimes the rancid smell is how it was described by someone on the call. How do you get rid of that? And there was one response that it has to be heated quite a bit. What is your feedback on it?
What happens is it's not a rancid smell, it's a pungent smell. There's a difference between rancid and pungent. What you need to do is you take the mustard oil to the smoking point and then let it cool down. So what happened when you saw I use the mustard oil is I already took it to the smoking point because it takes time, and then I let it cool down. If you add the masalas when it's very hot, it will burn your masalas and you won't get the color. So that's why you need to get it to the smoking point where you can see it's like flare, like steam is coming out. Then you just shut it off and let it come to a very small temperature where you can just put your finger and feel it. And then you add in your spices. And what happens is the reason we add the spice to a warm oil is it will impart more color and flavor when you add it inside it. You know what happens is a lot of time, like if you see at home, we roast the spices. The reason we roast the spices is all the spices have oil inside it. And when you roast it, it starts imparting the oils outside, and that's how you get the flavor. When we say the flavor is coming of the spices when we roast it, that basically the essential oils from the spices are coming out.
Excellent. Thank you for that tip.
And absolutely. And guys, we don't endorse any specific brand because for many reasons. So that's why we're not getting into which specific brands to buy. But, like I said, there are things we buy in wholesale, etc. But that's a whole different conversation.
I was going to say that when you grow up swimming in College Street pool, you get used to and start loving the mustard oil because that's what you put on yourself when you go into the pool.
Yeah, for me as a consumer, I think it adds a whole bunch of, kind of a punch to our food. Now, wait a minute, you're moving forward. So what happened here?
So I just added all the spices, blended it. I've just added in yogurt to it.
Okay. So, and how much yogurt do you recommend adding for this amount of spices?
I think it's around 16 ounce, I would say.
Got it.
That's a 16 ounce because we only have 2 lamb chops right now.
Can you go wrong if you add too much or too less yogurt?
No, I don't think so. You can go wrong.
So guys, the big learning there is it's, Indian food. I've seen my mom cook, my dad cook all the time. And it's sort of the version that you love. And there's many ways of doing that. And it really depends on, kind of the choice.
And guys, remember one thing, when you make an extra marination, it's not going to go to waste. You can just keep it. Next day, you can use it for chicken. Next day, you can use it for anything. It's a versatile marination, which can be used for multiple things. So you don't need to worry about it, like thinking, oh, what do I do if it's extra? There's nothing wrong in it. You can use it. And actually, because it's yogurt, if you store it refrigerated, you can keep it for a longer period of time. Okay.
Can you recall? Sorry? Can you recap what did you put in that mixture? What spices went? Because it went so.
Oh yeah, surely. So
non-cook like me, I want a recap.
So
Absolutely.
salt,
Mhm,
red chili powder,
mhm.
garam masala. I spoke about what goes in garam masala,
Right.
turmeric,
Mhm.
cumin, and we had a ginger garlic paste with some green chili inside it. So the ginger garlic and a green chili paste.
And you see the green chili right here, chopped green chili.
Mm.
So ginger, garlic, chopped green chili. Yep.
Got it. And then that's obviously there was mustard oil. So there was mustard oil over there. Like that's the mustard oil we have, which which I heated up. Everything goes here. When it's lukewarm, you mix in all the spices nicely.
Got
You
it.
mix in all. First and foremost, don't add the yogurt. First, mix in all your spices very nicely and let it stay there. Then you add in your yogurt. I normally, whenever I do it, I just taste it. And if I obviously over a period of time, you know how much salt to add, how much not to add, and everything. If you find the salt to be less, you can add in. If you feel that you want it a little bit more spicier, you can add in your chili. It's a very individual thing.
Got it.
Okay. So
the first marination, how long are you supposed to do this?
I recommend when you're doing it at home, like first marination, keep it for at least 2 hours. So it's a good time for that. And if it's like when we do it in our restaurants, because we have different people working in different shifts, we have the leverage of keeping it for 4 to 5 hours. But obviously at home, you can't do that. If you can do that, that's the best thing. But if you can't, 2 hours is a sufficient time.
So,
But remember one thing, the first marination needs to be done for lamb, any red meat and chicken. Don't do it for seafood. Seafood will start disintegrating if you keep it in a first marination.
got it. So no prawn, none of that stuff. That is
No.
only a single marination.
That's a single marination. You just
Got
do
it.
the marination and do it right.
So you're doing the first marination, and then
Mm.
how long? Now that you've done the second marination,
So when we do it at the restaurant, we keep it overnight. So let's say you're entertaining people at home. And if you want to impress them with your cooking, I would recommend do this marination part a day before. And keep your meat inside the refrigerator till the time you cook it. So because you know we use the grillers and the tandoor in our restaurant, we have got skewers with us. But like at my home, I don't have anything like that. So I cook it in just regular oven. So there's a plate like this. You can have any kind of a steel or a baking tray. Make sure you have a grill like this, which is on a height, which doesn't touch the surface.
Excellent. And can you
Okay.
marinate it and leave it overnight?
Yes, that if you want to impress people, do it.
if you don't want to impress people, don't cook it.
So when I wanted to take up a job with Roni, that's when I did it. Now I don't do it.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna apply a little oil on the grill.
here goes some little secrets. So you're telling me the marination should stay in a little grill like this. No one does this at home. People just put it in a bowl and
And
leave it.
I'll explain you why. What happens is, as you see, this thing has got a trellis pattern, and the meat, when it touches, there's less surface which will touch it. Whilst if the meat goes on this, a maximum surface will touch it, and that's gonna burn out. The key of grilling is the meat is actually not touching any surface. It is touching very less surfaces where the rods are or where the metal bars are. So once you have this, I will just line it up over here.
And it doesn't matter if it's pretty close to one another.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Got it. So that's marinated. I'm gonna put it inside the oven to cook,
Okay.
and then we'll go to get into our next dish, which is the kale pakoda.
All right. So off he goes.
Murad, we have a question in the audience as well.
Yes, of course.
Jitesh, I'm not able to see any new questions.
Sorry, did we ask can we marinate overnight?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's my bad. Murad, if you have any questions in the meantime.
Yeah, so Roni, while we are waiting for Chintan, one part of the question that is on everybody's mind is your specific immigrant journey to the culinary arts.
Sure. And before I jump into that, I think it's important to share what is the temperature that you're putting this meat in.
400-degree Fahrenheit.
Thank
So,
you.
Normally people cook things at 350.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it going to overcook. And what is the difference? Why does someone pick a 400 degree? Like, what are you trying to achieve by that number?
What happens is, it's like if you go to a restaurant, they will ask you, like, what is the doneness you are looking at? You want it medium well done and everything. And I think because in India, we didn't have a concept of that well done. Everything was well done. There is no rare, there is no medium, there is no nothing. Because the quality of red meat that we got in India was not at that level. And the kind of meat quality we get over here, you'll enjoy it more when you cook it medium or medium rare.
Got it. So you're getting a little, with 400, you're getting a little more sear on the outside.
Sear on the outside, and the juices will be retained inside.
Got it. Okay.
And how long?
How long?
I approximately, I keep on looking at it. Now what happens is, ours is a commercial oven. But when you do it at home, remember, it's a very home style oven. It doesn't heat up as much as our oven will heat up. And the reason we know it is because we have been through this exercise, because we have a concept for biryani, which is an online concept. And when we did the R&D for it, we were cooking it in our oven over here and it would get ready in 20-25 minutes. But whenever we took it home, in 25 minutes, the product was coming very back. And then we realized that because the home ovens have a different kind of heat structure and, you know, the body to it. And this one is like a full throttle one. So we realized that that one actually takes 45 minutes to cook, which is nearly double the time. So what I would recommend is keep on looking at your meat and see what doneness you like. You know, what I like is not important. It is what you like when you're cooking at home. And obviously chicken, don't make it medium. It has to be cooked fully. Remember that.
Yeah, only red meat. So while he's setting up for the Kale Pakoda, what I'll share with you, want to be ready to jump in? So for me, it started about 11 years ago when my father was retiring. And I realized that, you know, I just wanted my dad to not feel old. That was the main objective. It wasn't about building an empire, building X amount of restaurants. It was none of that was the objective. It was like being a first generation immigrant. We moved here about 25 years ago, and you leave your entire social structure behind. You don't know your friends, your families. My father actually, there's no one from his family is actually here. So everything is a new relationship. And I felt that, you know, maybe this will give him an opportunity to build new relationships, new friends, be part of a community, and help him find a little sense of purpose in many ways. So with that idea, we ended up starting a very small venture called the Masala Wala. And it is really thanks to the unbelievable willpower of my father that restaurant became a neighborhood gem. And people really loved coming over. From Valentine's Day to every other holiday, people were celebrating, and he became a part of the neighborhood. And where truly everyone in the Lower East Side, you can walk around, they'll know who my father is. And he is Mr. Masala Wala. And there's nothing that gives me more joy. But in that process of helping my father find his purpose, I ended up finding what my own passion was. So I think it's a little bit of a backwards journey in many ways, but yeah, and that's what brings us, that's where Chintan and I met. And the goal was to really see all the kind of looking at all the gaps of Indian cuisine and see what we could do about it. And it felt like this was the right guy. This was the guy who shares a similar kind of anger about all these problems. And, you know, we always say this, we are very different as people, but our vision is the same. What we want to achieve is the same. And that's what makes us the team that we are.
Thank you for sharing.
Awesome. All right. So we have a kale pakoda, huh?
Yeah. So it's a kale pakoda. As you can see, this is a kale. We go to local markets and pick up whatever kales we get. And, you know, you get phenomenal quality kale across America, wherever you go in the market. So I'm just going to, what you need to do is just remove this hard part out. This doesn't fry well. So we just the only thing that you need to do, stem is need to remove it out. As you can see, it's very hard. So it's not edible. Don't recommend. I'm against wastage. I don't like to waste food. You try to use the trim, but this is something which you cannot do anything out of it. That's why. What I have over here is besan.
So besan's chickpea flour?
Chickpea flour. That's chickpea flour. I'm just going to add some rice flour to it.
So rice flour and chickpea flour.
Yes.
What's the ratio? Like 75-25?
Ideally, rice flour is 1/3 and besan is 2/3.
Okay. So 1/3, 2/3, guys.
Yeah.
So there's no masala, nothing in this. You're just adding the two.
Not right now.
Okay.
I'm just going to add chili powder.
So that's the red chili powder to taste.
Yeah. Salt.
Salt also to taste.
turmeric.
Yep.
That's too much. I'll just remove it. Sorry.
Yeah,
gonna add
so don't add too much turmeric.
cumin powder.
Cumin powder.
We'll add in some ginger garlic paste. Okay. We're also going to add in the chopped cilantro and green chili, but don't add it at this point of time because when you use the whisk, everything will get stick to it.
Okay.
So just remain up.
At home, you can skip the gloves if you want to,
No.
unless you're feeding guests. Who knows? So you're adding water, just plain water?
Yeah.
Is there a secret to your water?
Nothing.
Come on, man. Gotta tell us. So just plain water. So how do you measure your water? You're kind of observing what's happening here.
See, what happens is all the flours are very different. So
Mhm.
you'll have to keep it. There's no specific volume that you can give to it. You just keep on doing it. That's how your mother does it. Does she ever measure anything?
Well,
No.
my mother's not a world-renowned chef, so we have a problem there.
She cooks better than me, trust me.
You know, I'm getting a compliment for both of you on the chat saying you guys should start your own cooking show.
Oh boy, oh boy. Only with Niam. We should never do it alone. We need a real partner like Niam. And as he's doing this, I do want to add one thing. I think we as South Asians are lacking a voice in our community when it comes to preserving our own culture. We have, not only is it the spending power, there's also a tremendous amount of influence that's there, but it's all fractured. And what I respect, and the reason why we wanted to partner with Niam to do this, is because we feel that you guys are unifying that voice and bringing the community together. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And I hope the rest of you are just as excited as we are.
Appreciate, and likewise from us to you as well.
Thank you. So that's a soup now. Well, what's happening?
It's not soup, Roni. It's a batter.
Okay, so now this is not a batter like how you make bread. This is more of a liquidy batter. Is that what you?
That is a dough, Roni. That's why I'm the chef.
See
and
the
you're not.
problem? You see, this is what we're dealing with. All right, all right. So why do you keep adding water every so often? Why not in one
I don't
shot?
want to add it because I want to see how much water the flour can take.
Okay.
Sometimes, you miscalculate it. You don't want it very thin.
So guys, I think the biggest learning here is that when we think of food, we have this idea that as if there's a very specific measurement, the moment you put those measurements, everything is going to work out exactly the same. But what we all need to understand is food has a tremendous amount of variation. Every single ingredient, type of flour, which brand of chickpea flour you're buying, which is, rice flour, all of that it will create a very different version of food. So a recipe is only a point of reference. It cannot make us into a phenomenal chef. A chef is somebody who can play with those ingredients and understand where and how to play each and every single time. With every season, your tomato changes flavor. What do you do at that point? So these are the little things that I guess differentiates us as home cooks versus these guys. So you are now, let me get this straight. Can you show us the consistency a little bit more of this? So guys, you see this? You see how liquidy this thing is? It's very important to understand. This should not be too thick, huh?
No.
Okay, kind of liquidy, you kind of get that. Okay.
Just coats your hand.
Like a lassi almost.
No.
This is why I don't cook. But yes.
Okay, so I'm going to add the green chili in.
Okay.
I like little extra green chili in the pakoda, so I'm going to add it extra.
And this is to taste.
Yeah.
And again, green chilies depends on which ones you get.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you have, is that mint, cilantro?
Cilantro, that's the cilantro.
Well, what if I replace it with parsley?
You're no longer Indian then.
Good God. Okay, so cilantro it is.
You need to be Italian then if it's parsley.
Sometimes I do replace it at home and I screw up dishes. So I am that consumer, guys. I am that guy who practically makes all the mistakes.
That's why I'm wearing the t-shirt unapologetic Indian
Yes.
and not you. Ron.
I'm the apologetic Indian. That's what this is about.
And you just put it in.
Okay, wait. Going too fast. Wait a minute. Let us learn. Don't take away our secrets.
So basically just dredge in your pakoda, go near the fryer.
Okay.
Just let the extra thing go away and then just put it in the
So
fryer.
you need to how long do we wait to kind of let that extra thing go over? Or you kind of want some of that?
Oh, you need something on it which is
Okay.
coated around it, and
Okay.
this is the perfect thing. You let it go. Don't let it go too much. Like if you do this,
Right.
see it's going. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
So you see, I want everybody to see the texture of what's happening. This is the right time, huh?
Yeah.
just enough. You're seeing the leaves. And so here's a question. So just a deep fryer, it could be anything, huh?
It could be a deep fry. You know, at home we have those karais in which we deep fry. Like when I do it at home for my friends, I just use a regular karai, and it could be a non-stick, steel or anything. Just simple deep frying. Don't complicate it. That's it.
And what kind of oil now? Tell us a little more there.
Whatever oil you prefer. I prefer the canola oil at home. So we use the canola oil. We just fry it in that. Same thing over here.
Okay. So canola oil. And
Yeah.
it should be, is it like a shallow fry? Or
It's
is it
deep fried. Guys, pakoda is always deep fried. Remember
So-
that. Pakoda is always deep fried. I actually once got a shock of my life. I was home and zipping through the channels, and there was this food channel going on. And there's this lady who was making a pakoda, and she was actually shallow frying the pakoda. That was the biggest criminal thing she was doing, I think, in my life. So remember that the pakodas have to be deep fried. They are not shallow fried, guys. Please.
So deep fried essentially means, let's say a pot this size, would you say?
Whatever size, big, small, doesn't matter.
But it's enough for
It's
this
got
thing.
enough oil for this thing to go in and do it.
Okay.
A shallow fry is you have a pan, and then you put little bit of oil. The way you are health conscious and weight conscious, you'll put 2 spoons of oil and try to make something, right?
Try to, yes. That's the
Yeah.
disaster. Okay. Fair enough.
Fair
All right.
enough.
So
And
now,
so we also, like, because we are doing the kale pakoda, we gotta get a lot of questions, because our entire philosophy in restaurant is how Indian it should be and everything. So people said, why kale? Why not anything else? And I said, like, pakoda has a different kind of attachment to Indians. So I had to explain somebody who was actually American-born Indian, and he says, why kale? Because it's not an Indian vegetable. And you know, pakoda, you said your restaurant is all Indian, and I said, I'll explain you. It's the concept of the dish, but not the kale. I said, what happens in India is that when I need to go to my friend's house, I don't call him up 3 weeks in advance and say that, oh, on May 1st, I'm coming for dinner at your house at 7 p.m. I just go to his house and ring the bell. And I say, okay, I'm here. So when I go there, my friend's mother or wife or anybody at home will not allow me to leave without eating something. And what is most readily available thing at our homes is besan is always there. So pakoda and chai is the thing which we always got it. And the way we made the pakoda was that we'll make the pakoda with whatever is available. So mostly what we'll end up making is a potato pakoda or an onion pakoda or a bengan ka pakoda, ya palak ka, jo bhi ghar pe, you know, whatever vegetables you have, you just make it with it. So I said that's why we wanted to do something which was very specific to America as a product. And that's why we did it with kale.
Yep.
That was the only reason.
Got it.
so don't
Okay.
don't be confused. This is not a fusion approach to cooking.
Yes, that's what
No,
we
it's
don't do
great to
actually.
hear because it reflects your immigrant story as well. We got to hear Roni's, and through your conversation, we are getting to see glimpses and insights into it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I forgot. I have to shake this.
Oh boy. When you're doing good cooking, just keep shaking the raffle. That's the secret to it. All right. So now he's gonna go fry that, just simply deep frying as it turns golden. It's really as simple as that. And then we
My
have two
wife,
more
who is
steps.
sitting next to me, Roni, is asking what to do if you want to use an air fryer. What changes would you need to make?
Don't make this dish. That's one. It's no, really. I think I'll have Chef talk about it. He has his feelings. Like it's the same thing as, like, you know, if you're cooking something where you want to be authentic, go all the way. And if not, then eat the fruits, the vegetables. There's nothing wrong with it. And I think it kind of touches upon a very core philosophy of what we were talking about earlier. It's a choice. It's kind of like eating impossible meat. Then why not just eat the meat? It's filled with or just stick to one side, then eat the vegetables. It's either or, right? So it's not that I'm proposing one or the other. All I'm saying is, if you're cooking a dish, then try to be true to it. Try to honor where it really comes from. Try to honor the tradition, the heritage, and what it really means from a cultural context. And yes, there are always variations. You can put tofu in saag paneer as well. We are just not the people who recommends it.
Appreciate the honesty.
How it is. I'll give you guys a quick glimpse of the lamb chops. Oh boy.
Wow. You know, iftar is at 7:40, but I can't wait.
I love it. All right.
So So guys, there was one more dish we were supposed to talk about. I'll just show you a little bit over here. Muradji especially wanted it. He wanted me to speak about Raita. Now what I feel is Raita is actually a very simple dish, but a lot of people don't get it right. And I think what happens is the main thing about Raita is the yogurt. So the way we make our Raita, I'll just show you and how you can just change it to your taste and everything. That's plain yogurt that we have over here. Just gonna add a little bit to over here.
Could you move the water jug just a little bit?
Oh,
the
sorry.
Water jug? Yeah. Thank you. Perfect.
This is going to be the most disappointing Raita recipe that you've ever seen, by the way, just so you know. And I want to prepare all of you for it. What we do, we all make a very big deal out of what a Raita is and what it should be. But this is literally the version that we serve at the restaurant. Raita is a side dish that should not overpower.
I always say that what happens is like, we have a very big tendency to complicate things. And actually our philosophy is to simplify everything. We actually as a cuisine are trying to simplify as much as possible. We don't want to, like, there were places where we have seen like they do Raita with very foreign ingredients which are not even grown in India. So like, somebody did a Raita with caviar in it. And I said, nobody in the India would know about what a caviar is. Why would you do it? And for us, like, we serve Raita as an accompaniment which should complement our food. It shouldn't overpower our food.
Yep.
You understand? So that's our thing. We just add little salt and yogurt. We just mix it up. Muradji, this is only for you, sir.
Yeah.
And obviously you taste it. Now the different variations you can do in this is, like when my wife does it at home, she wants a little spicy and everything. She adds a little chili powder into it. And this is freshly roasted cumin. So I wouldn't recommend, if you're using for Raita, I don't recommend using a powdered cumin from the market. Please make your own roasted cumin. It will taste phenomenally better than it. And add a little cumin in it.
So just just eyeballing just a splash of cumin, just a splash of red chili.
Raita. Yeah, that's
about it. And all right.
Got it. The other thing.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it. That's a Raita. Then we'll put it inside the bowl.
What the heck, man? Everybody's thinking this is some special chef's recipe. It's the most disappointing thing we've ever seen.
Blame Muradji for it, not me.
We literally serve a version of Raita that is even simpler than this at the restaurant.
Yeah, we don't actually add anything. The only thing we use fresh pomegranate.
That's the key. That's the key.
That's the key.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think we're under always the impression of the kind of, and especially what Chintan talked about, that kind of complexity in a dish. The complexity goes on the dishes. So what we talked about is double marination. These are not, how you heat up the oil and you let it cool down, something like mustard oil, not something that we use regularly. That's where a dish becomes what it is. And I think what I learned from Chintan is that as a home cook, I always believe the more ingredients I add, the better my dishes are going to be. And he's of the exact opposite school of thought. And you want to share that a little bit?
Yeah, and what happens is, like I always say to Roni, the lesser the dishes we add, that should be our goal, to how to simplify it and get a better taste to people. Rather than focusing on it, saying that I'll add 15 things into a dish and make it more complicated. We actually try to simplify as much as possible. So most of our dishes are very focused on certain ingredients only. That's it.
Excellent. There are two questions. One is, do you recommend brushing any oil on the lamb chops once it's done? And
yes,
also,
we are getting on to it.
Sorry,
we haven't finished it, so we are getting on to it, that part now.
Yeah.
And for the yogurt, any recommendations from you in terms of 2% fat-free, whole milk?
Always whole milk, full fat yogurt. If like Chintan is gonna flip out if someone says 2%. So please, and I understand again, it's a choice, like I say, and we always talk about this. What are you striving for? If you want to be healthy, focus on that aspect. Then maybe there are different recipes for that. Trying to change a recipe to forcefully be healthy actually compromises the recipe itself. Okay, wow.
So and we actually recommend that use a whole fat, whole fat milk yogurt. It gives you a better product. Like you might not even find it in the market. Like there's a yogurt which we make with 14% fat in it.
Yeah.
So you understand, like we make our own paneer. And we are very confident about our paneer because we buy the milk from local dairy with the highest fat content. And we have an open challenge for anybody who dines in our restaurant that if you can get a better quality paneer than ours, we'll actually repay you the entire money of what you ate today.
Yeah. If you can find a better paneer, your ticket will be given back by Amrita. Your money will be refunded instantly. But you have to find a better paneer than this.
Got it. Okay, guys. So we have the fried kale pakoda over here.
So, okay. So this is, wow, that looks like a Christmas tree with some stuff on it. All right, go ahead.
And so what we have over here is a kebab masala. What we have over here is a masala for kale pakoda. The fried stuff, we have a different masala. That's a kale pakoda masala. So I'm just gonna, which plate should I use? So it's this one. So let's do the plating now.
So I think what's cool about this is, by the way, so there's a whole story about this dish that I'm gonna skip for now. We're joking about it because there's like a joke about it between us. But this dish is like literally, it's that simple. What he does, you just sprinkle a little bit of the masala, and then comes the chutney. As you see,
this is a mint and a cilantro chutney. Okay, so we are gonna put the chutney over it.
You're just doing it however much. It's just to taste, huh?
Yeah. Then you have the date and the tamarind chutney over it.
The date and the tamarind chutney. Okay.
And that's the final one, which is the sweetened yogurt.
What type of a yogurt?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
No, what was the final one? What was the final chutney?
So this basically is the yogurt.
Okay.
With some sugar. No, that's very important to understand this. This has got yogurt, sugar, black salt, red chili powder, and cumin powder. All 5 of them, very important. Otherwise, you won't get it right. And the entire dish is very dependent on this yogurt.
Got it.
Okay, so yeah, that's the kale pakoda.
So it looks messy, man.
It's supposed to be.
Okay, and how are we supposed to eat it? Like fork, knife, or you just break it apart?
We recommend people eating with hands. We don't want people wearing suits and coming. We just want people to dress like this, come and enjoy the food as you are eating at home. So you just break it in.
So you see how it kind of crumbles away? Yeah, it works?
Yeah.
All right. You guys will have to just believe it.
Awesome.
Beautiful. And there's 2 different masalas that you added in this.
No. I just added the fried masala. And that's a kebab masala.
Got it. Okay. So what if people want to put chaat masala on this?
You can.
Yeah. So you could essentially do chaat masala. I guess you're just having fun with this dish. Guys, I think the most critical part to understand about Indian cuisine is that a lot of our dishes start from celebration and fun. The last thing you all want to do at home is to think of this as a very clinical, laboratory-like approach. Have fun with it. Do some stuff to it. It's okay to make a mistake. And I think it's never going to be, even if you go through every step by step, like I mentioned earlier, it's not about how perfect that dish is. It's how much you enjoy it. So ask yourself, well, understand the spices. The whole purpose of today is so we all can equally fall in love with our cuisine, not necessarily to do the best dish possible. For that, you come to our restaurant, but for you to cook the best thing that you wish for. Okay, so what do we have here?
So you have the lamb chops over here. And as you rest the meat, you'll always see these juices coming out.
See that?
I love the juices, so I'm going to put it back into the lamb chops.
Oh boy. All right. Okay. This is the real step, guys, that everybody needs to keep in mind.
Somebody asked about the butter. So we have some melted butter over here.
Great question, by the way.
Obviously, whenever you are cooking also, you need to brush a little bit with the butter. But I always add extra butter. Look at my size, you can know it.
That looks so good.
And then you have the lemon juice. I squeezed lemon juice over here, freshly one. And then this is the kebab masala that we have. So there is a chaat masala with some kala namak in there, dried amchur, little red chili powder.
So kala namak is black salt and amchur is dried mango powder.
Got it.
So these
Zara,
are
you
just
got your response. So we have another question. Would you also be able to share the 5 ingredients for the yogurt one more time?
Yeah. So it's yogurt, sugar, black salt, red chili powder, and cumin powder.
Got it.
5 things.
It's just like a
Tina,
little
hope
spicy
you wrote it
over
down.
because- Oh boy. Now watch the magic. See what he's gonna do. The secret is literally right there. It's not about just grilling and cooking the dish. It's really bringing in those extra elements, the lemon juice, the fat, the salt, the butter, the masala, kind of really bringing it into one specific ingredient.
Get some green chutney.
One other question before we move on is, could you repeat the ingredients that you had shared earlier that had the dried mango pieces, which was for the
That's a kebab masala.
the kebab masala. Yeah. Could you repeat the ingredients?
So there's chaat masala. Okay, there's a kala namak. There's a dried mango powder, and I don't know if I said the peppercorn part or not.
No.
Yeah, so there was peppercorn. Yeah.
Peppercorn? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's for the kebabs. That's for the kebabs. That's a
Kebab masala. Yeah.
Got it.
Excellent.
And, and
Excellent.
the red chili powder. Red chili powder. Red chili
Awesome.
powder.
No, this was amazing. This was really, really good. In a short amount of time, you were able to share a lot of ways in which you could make our dishes. We could make our dishes better. And along with that, thank you for sharing your wealth of information as well as your own stories. All of us hopefully will be looking forward to coming to New York City. And if you are in New York City, please do make avail of all 3 of the restaurants that both of these guys have done some amazing work with. With that, back to you, Jitesh, and Amita Didi, if you'd want to share a few words.
Thank you very much, Murad. You were really wonderful today. And thank you so much, Roni and Chintan, on behalf of all our audience members here. We had around 40 people in this room today. It's such a blessing to have everyone join us, even despite the pandemic, despite all the struggles. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for taking us through this journey. This session will be recorded and will be shared with all the participants sometime in the future. Please visit Adda, please visit Rahi, and please visit where they are right now, which is Dhamaka. We will send all the links to these restaurants in an email. You can order in, you can visit them the next time they are in New York. And regarding Niyam, we want to really, really thank our presenting sponsor, US Bank. I want to thank the programs committee, marketing committee, everyone in Niyam who made this happen. Obviously our host, Murad. And we really hope to work with Roni and Chintan sometime in the future again.
Thank you. Thank you all. I just want to quickly add that it's an honor and it's a pleasure for giving us a chance to share these moments. I think, again, thank you to Niyam for bringing all these voices together. I've not met probably any of you on this call, but it would be a pleasure to meet you in person one day. And thank you for putting up with us for the last hour.
Absolutely. And final announcement, if this show moved you, if you learned something, if you were entertained, please consider donating a small amount to the museum. In the email I send you with the recipes, the donation link will be there. Please consider donating $10, $15. We will also receive your $100 if you are so moved. Any amount that you donate will go to similar programs like these, and we'll keep doing these shows. Stay in touch. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I will see everyone soon on the email. Thank you, Roni. Thank you, Chintan, once again.